What up, geometers? Unit 11, surface area volume, study guide problem number 1, finding the surface area and the volume of this cone. So, a couple of things we need to do. First off, we need to figure out what the height of this cone is. So picture this triangle right there. So we know a couple pieces. We know that the height of this, the length of this hypotenuse right there, the slant height of the cone is 11. We know the base of this triangle is going to be the radius of there, which if the diameter is 10, the radius has to be 5. And so we can do some Pythagorean theorem. We know that 11 squared will equal 5 squared plus that height squared. So we need to take the square root. Well, let's do this in steps. Let's solve that for h squared. So 11 squared minus 5 squared will equal h squared. So then h will equal the square root of 11 squared minus 5 squared. Which, when you start to simplify this, you should find that 11 squared minus 5 squared, 121 minus 25 is 96. Now, I'm not going to figure out what that value is because I want to do this all precisely. If you want, you could simplify that 96 as 4 times the square root of 6. But you can leave that as 96 for now if you choose to. So let's figure out what the surface area of this cone is. Well, remember the lateral area of this cone is going to be pi r L, where L is the slant height of 11, plus the area of the base, which is going to be pi r squared, and we know r is 5 in both of these instances. So the surface area is going to equal pi times my radius, which is 5, times my slant height, which is 11, so pi times 55, plus pi times my radius squared is 25. So 55 pi plus 25 pi should give me 80 pi as that surface area. Now we shouldn't forget to talk about our units. We are talking about area, and those dimensions were millimeters, so this should be 80 pi millimeters squared, since we were talking about area, which we could approximate at 251.327, and again, millimeters squared. So there is that right there for the surface area. Let's go ahead and find the volume then. So remember, for a pyramid or a cylinder, pretend like it were the full shape, and then take a third of it for the volume. So pretend like this were a full cylinder there instead of just a cone. So that area is going to, that volume is going to be the area of the base, which is again pi r squared, times the height, and not the slant height, the actual height of the object. Well, that would be the cylinder, and this is a cone, so we need to divide that by 3. So let's plug in what we know. Again, pi r squared, radius is 25. So we're going to have 25 times that height we found, the square root, my alarm is going off. The square root of 96 is that height we found. And then that needs to be multiplied by pi, and all of this needs to be divided by 3. So since we're going to have that irrational number anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just multiply the pi in. If I were typing this into a calculator, you could type it in exactly like this. I would say 25 pi, and then I would type my square root button, my 96, and then I would divide it by 3. If you need to be careful and make sure that you don't have that divided by 3 inside that square root. So make sure you have that whole thing divided by 3. If you want, you could type it like this to avoid that. You do 25 pi, then do you divided by 3, and then do your times the square root of 96. But do that, and you should get a number. You should get 256.51. And again, now we're talking about volume, so our units are millimeters cubed. So there you have the volume, and up above we found the surface area.